Robin Harris was a monster.
Dog, and they show like the footage of what he would do at the club. I went down there one time. The live act theater wasn't no good for Uncle Joey.
No?
Nah, comedy act theater. Yeah, because it was in Crenshaw.
Oh, wow.
So those dudes hung out at the store that robbed the bank. And they had a cell phone place down there, so I would bring them hot cell phones, and they're like, you got to go do the comedy act theater player. And they took me to the comedy act theater one night. I ate a bag of dicks.
That was the early days of Joey Diaz. Like, I always said that you're the first guy that I ever saw that, like, hit a switch and went from having rough sets a lot, you couldn't figure out how to be yourself on stage, to killing. Like, you jumped like 5 levels. It was the weirdest thing I ever seen. Like, you figured out how to be yourself on stage. And I don't know what it was. And I've always had my suspicions that it was like you got tired of waiting for like Hollywood to cast you in something. And you got tired of like dealing with agents and like holding yourself back. And you allowed yourself to be yourself, the Joey that we always knew in the back bar or in the parking lot. You were always the guy who was making everybody laugh. We would just gather around and talk shit with you. And you would go on stage and you would tense up. You remember those days?
I didn't know that was what people wanted to see. I thought people wanted to see me doing an impersonation of John Mulaney. Because I love John Mulaney. I didn't know who John Mulaney was then.
Right, but that kind of like
that
traditional stand-up comedian.
It was hosting at the store. If I have to tell you what really turned the corner for me, and I hope young comics are listening so they know what this is, it was 50% of that. No, let's lie to you. 30% of that was hosting at the store. 70% and a strong 70%.
Hosting those open mic nights?
Those open mic nights at the Comedy Store. But I think what really showed me the light in comedy was the late night sets, following Paul Mooney, you.
Yeah.
Those sets right there are sets of, you need to make that $15. All right? You need the $15 so that you had to wait for 4 people. They would do the show if there was 4 people. But forget about the $15. It was the ability to go down there with a plan, sit there through 4 comics, and realize my plan's not going to work.
And you had to squeeze blood out of a rock.
And you had to turn whatever you were going to say on stage and flip it, because Mooney was already going to cover it if it was topical. You know, somebody who was there was going to cover it. You were going to cover it.
Mooney was always amazing with topical shit.
Right. So topical, you lost it. If you went down there and you had 3 jokes on a piece of paper,
yeah,
and Mooney's up.
You remember when that plane went down in Florida in the swamps, and Mooney had that whole bit about it, like right afterwards?
He had a bit
of the lady clutching her purse. They found an alligator eating her. He just went right after it, like right after the plane crash. Like right after it.
When I moved to Jersey about a year ago, I went on a stand-up hunt to make me laugh again. I wanted to learn how to do stand-up again. And I went in and I listened to Paul Mooney Race. Paul Mooney Race is a very good ABCD stand-up comedy.
I've never seen that. Is it a CD or is it a...
It's a CD. It came out, it's
all audio?
All audio. OJ... The White Bitch.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that was 96, 95 maybe. The cover of it is 3 brothers on the thing ready to run a race. You know, and that's the album, Race.
Paul Mooney, when I was just starting out at the Comedy Store, you know, I would bring him up and I would just feel like so inadequate. You know, I had to like give him his introductions. I couldn't believe I was working with him. I was fumbling with it because I had known that he was Richard Pryor's head writer. Like he was a super well respected comic. And then one night I went up and it was late at night and there was maybe like 10, 15 people in the audience. And I'm doing my set and I'm getting after it. There's only 10 or 15 people, but they're laughing. I'm having fun and I'm just committed to my material. And I hear in the back of the room, ha ha. Ah-ha! I forget what I was talking about, but I'm like, oh my God, Paul Mooney is laughing. I'm like, he's laughing. And then I got off stage, and he said to me, he goes, you're a real motherfucking comic. He goes, you went up there. He goes, there was 10 people in that crowd. And he goes, and you gave them your full show. He goes, these motherfuckers, they go in there and they kind of half-ass it and they dance around it because there's no one in the crowd. Do your fucking show. And he goes, and you fucking did your fucking show. And I was like, whoa, holy shit. You did your show, homie.
He
then he would go on stage.
When you fucked around.
He did not like when you didn't respect the art.
He didn't like it at all.
No.
He let you know it one time, and then if you adjusted, and I adjusted. I learned a lot from Paul Mooney. I learned a lot from you. I learned a lot from Paul Mooney in those days. There was a couple guys at the store. Charlie Hill used to make me laugh. God rest his soul.
Charlie Hill was a great
lot
man.
of motherfuckers that were, a lot of old timers were wasting time, and they were bitter.
Yeah,
and they were blowing that over on us because we were the younger generation.
There was a problem with those guys.
There was a part of, and that's why I never wanted to become those guys.
Yeah.
I knew early on that when shit gets that bad, you got to get out of comedy. If you're gonna walk around and get mad at Taylor Tomlinson because she got a standing ovation, you know, some new comic, you got to cheer those motherfuckers on.
Yeah.
What about my little pot smoking girl?
What's your little pot?
Fucking Wolfie. Her fucking great girl.
Who are you
See her at the
talking about?
store. I forget what her fucking name
The
is.
Jackass Rachel.
Yeah, Rachel Wolfson. She just fucking blew up from Jackass. I've never been so happy for somebody.
That's awesome.
That girl was out every night doing fucking jokes and this and that. She gets this movie and she fucking ate lizards or something. I haven't seen it yet.
The art form relies on new up-and-coming talent to be nurtured by the people that are already doing it. You know, when people are coming up and they're killing it, you should be happy. You should pump them up. You should be excited about it. You know, that's what we're all supposed to be doing.
Those older guys at the store when we got there were
No.
not excited, and it really and I felt bad. And the guys in the trips here, I did a year of triple runs with those guys.
Yeah.
You know, why are you going to go to L.A.? It's a waste of time. I don't get any spots. You don't get any spot? No, maybe if I'm lucky, I get one spot a month at the Improv on Sunday nights, and I got to sit there. Okay, then maybe I won't go to L.A. And I got to tell you something. Every day I was in L.A., I would think of those fucking dudes and say, you guys just had the wrong mindset.
They did have the
You
wrong
were looking
mindset.
at it from a different concept, from a different. When you're doing stand-up comedy, every day I got a spot at the store, I knew I was a lot better than I was yesterday.
Yeah.
Didn't even mean anything about money. I'm at the fucking store, Jack.
And you're working on your act.
Yeah, I'm at the fucking store, Jack.
Those days, the early days before you made it, you were working on your act and you're trying to get it to a place where you were a real professional, you know? And you're trying to do it while you're, you don't have any idea what's going to happen.
You don't know what's gonna happen.
You might be a failure. You might try this and wind up doing construction or fucking who knows what's going to happen to you. You might not ever make it. You might not be good enough.
Do you know what the original plan was? To go to L.A., stay there until they threw me out, stop in Colorado, shoot a few people, and go to Jersey and fucking have the cops looking for me.